channel, I'm continuing to show you my completed and updated coloring book collection. In today's video, I'm going to be going through my Rita Berman books, my Creative Haven books, and my Mythographic books. So I'm going to clear my desk and start off with my Rita Berman books. So the first two books that I've got by Rita Berman are Die Welt unter der Lupe Zulandi, Main Race Deutsche Europa, and I also have her latest book, Main Race Asian. So I'm going to start off with Main Race Deutsche Asian, which is the newest book added to my collection. In here I don't have any completed pages. I'm going to zoom you in a bit more so you can see better. So I don't have anything completed in this book. I've just gotten it in December. And some really beautiful pages in here. So many beautiful things to color. But yeah, not touched yet or started. I might start with this one. I love this panda page, or I might start with one of the vases. I do really like those. There's so many beautiful pictures in here. But if you would like a full flip through of Main Race Deutsche Asian or My Travel Through Asia by Rita Berman, I will leave a link in the description below, and you can go check out my December haul and Christmas gifts video, and you'll find that there. So the first Rita Berman book I bought was Die Welt unter der Lupe Zulandi, and I got this when we were between houses. It was September 2020, I think. Yeah, September 2020, because we were between lockdowns and we'd been asked to move house and we were still trying to find a place to stay. So we ended up actually caravanning in October for about 7 to 9 days, and all my coloring book stuff had been packed away, and my pencils, and the only pencils I had were my children's pencils, and I desperately wanted to color in again, so I bought myself Rita Berman's The World Under the Magnifying Glass, and I went and I started coloring in this page. So I'll show you the first page that I colored in here, which was these ones. And I tried to do a bokeh background and didn't really actually enjoy how it looked. I used the Brute Funa round pencils to do this page, but I really like some of the shades of orange and brown that I got, and the pencils worked relatively well on this paper, although doing a pencil background was a real mission. I think I added that a little bit later on. Some of the other pages that I've completed include this one here. I used chalk pastels for the background. I stuck on some of these stars. I used white Sakura Jelly Roll to outline the constellation. And for a starry shimmer, I used the Spectrum Noir Sparkle. And that was it. There was nothing really fancy to do on this page, but I was quite inspired by some YouTube videos I was seeing with this sort of color scheme, and I thought I'd give it a whirl. Although I did get a little bit of bleed through onto some of these other pages down here at the bottom, so I'll have to use an eraser and see what I can do with that. This is a whip. I started the background with Inktense pencils and didn't like how they were turning out. And then I've been slowly coloring it with Castle Art pencils. I can't remember what pencils I used here. I think this is Inktense. I don't know what I used for the honey dipper. But yeah, I've been working with Castle Art, the original set, to do this. The smoky bits here are Inktense. So this is on my list of whips to complete. And then here are, I started this as a tutorial to show you how I do leaves and berries, and I haven't finished it, but you can see I've been mapping out all the other types of berries that I want to do, and I've been using Prismacolor pencils for this page. Most of my pages are closer to the front, so on these two pages, this side I use marker Raffines no, I didn't use marker Raffines. I use Arteza pencils. And I think I did Arteza pencils in the background, and white Sakura Jelly Roll or white Uniball Signo pen for the white spots in the background, Dovecraft glitter glue for the glitter inside the flower. And yeah, I was quite pleased with how the Arteza is colored on this page. And then I moved on to this page and I did Neocolor 2s at the bottom here for the grass, chalk pastels for the sky, white Jelly Roll for white highlights and the bubbles, gel pen on the door hinges, and the rest I used Arteza pencils. I did put some gel pen in here on the mouse, but overall it came out really, really sweet and wasn't a complete disaster, which I feared it would be. I'm not fantastically thrilled with how I did the face on the mouse, but I think that some of the colors came out really, really lovely. And then I've done this puzzle effect for you, which is available on the channel under the Rita Berman playlist, as well as I think beginner tutorials playlist. And I just videotaped how I created puzzle pieces on a wallpaper page, which really makes it easier than coloring every single repetitive leaf and flower. So this was a lot of fun and a lot more challenging than I had anticipated, but I really did enjoy it. And I used Prismacolor pencils for the background and Black Widow pencils for the leaves and flowers. I also used Dovecraft glitter glue in the center of the flowers and a bit on top of the leaves for a bit of sparkle. And then Posca pen and I think a white Uniball Signo pen or a white Sakura Jelly Roll for the highlights on the puzzle. And then this page here, I use Neocolor 2s in the background, white Uniball Signo pen for the white dots, and I colored the bouquet with marker Raffine pencils. And whilst I thought that they were really beautifully colored, as far as pigment goes, I didn't like here that the blending, it couldn't blend very well. And I found that quite frustrating. So marker Raffine haven't had much attention from me because of just the difficulty I've had with blending them. But I've been trying to test them on different paper and see which paper works better for them. So that is all I have done in Die Welt unter der Lupe Zulandi by Rita Berman. The next one that I've done quite a bit in is Min Reis durch Europa, or My Travel Through Europe, again also by Rita Berman. And here I've done quite a few color alongs and tutorials with you. So the first two pages, this is a disaster. I tried to use distress inks and I just made a complete and utter mess of it in the background. So it is really, really, really terrible. And maybe if I get some gouache paint or acrylic paint, I can actually go over it and fix it. But for the rest, I used, I think it was a mix of Prismacolor pencils and Arteza pencils. And then on this side, I used Prismacolor pencils and I just had a lot of fun with it. And I really was pleased with how it came out, exactly how I envisioned. And yeah, it was quite tricky to make sure every small bits on the map stood out and grabbed attention and didn't disappear into the map. But I learned a lot and found some really great color combinations there. And then we have this double page spread. I started it off camera, and then I had quite a few of you ask me to complete it with me. You wanted to complete it with me, so I started a color along series, which again you can find under the Rita Berman playlist. And except for a couple of the circles, I think these two and this one, almost everything and the background is on film, so you can color along with me. And I did enjoy it. I was pleasantly and surprised at how long it took me to actually complete this double page spread. It really was a lot longer than I expected, but I enjoyed the challenge of trying to balance the colors and make sure I didn't bring in more colors, but use the pencils I'd taken out. And yeah, I think this one here is one of my favorite mini circles. So the next page we did as a live stream video is this one. And we use polychromos pencils to do this page. Again, you can find the color along videos in the Rita Berman playlist as well as the live stream playlist up on the channel. And as you can see, I've used some Spectrum Noir Sparkle on the waves. I've used white Posca pen, white Uniball Sakura, sorry, not white Uniball, white Sakura Jelly Roll for highlights, and also some glitter pens and gel pens. So overall it came out really well, and in the magnifying glass I tried to show that part of the fin was being magnified, and the book here is to represent a coloring book. So she's taken her coloring book to the beach and is enjoying the ocean, resting and coloring in. The next one I did was a color along video, and that was this one. And here again I use polychromos pencils, white Sakura Jelly Roll, some Dovecraft glitter glue in the centers of the flowers, and for the background I used chalk pastels, which I just got from my local hobby shop, and then some Dovecraft glitter glue even on the butterfly. And this page I thought came out really well. I was very pleased with it. Again, you can find the color along in the Rita Berman playlist. And then here is one of my outstanding WIPs. I did the water with you on a tutorial, so that you can find under the beginner tutorials playlist up on the channel. And then I've gotten very stuck completing the page. I've lost thought on what colors to use and how I'm going to complete it. So I did the fish and the boat and the flowers off camera, but I'm not really sure how I'm going to finish this page. So right now it's a WIP until I get some inspiration. And then you can see I'm trying to do a background, but yeah, I'm not feeling very confident with that page. And then here I did this one off camera. I used eyeshadow for the background, glitter gel pens for the borders of the stamps, and Prismacolor Premier pencils to color it in, and white Sakura Jelly Roll for the highlights. And yeah, I thought it came out really lovely. And here you can see I tried to illustrate some of the building and the lights as the bus is driving past. So I enjoyed doing that one. It was quite a quick and easy one. And then this one, again, I'm using gel pen and polychromos pencils. For the background, I use chalk pastels. I have videotaped this and I've edited one part, but I've still got to edit the second part, and it's got quite a few editing issues with lighting and that sort of thing. So I haven't published it on the channel because it just doesn't feel like it's good quality, and I really want to give you good quality. So yeah, any other things I have to say about this really has to do with the palette. I was trying to go for an autumnal theme, but I don't really like how I've colored the balloons. How I've colored them is fine, but it's the palette that I don't think I like. Although I have seen green and red hot air balloons before, I'm just not sure I got the right shades. But overall, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's just not one I would say is my best. And then right at the back here, I use Distress inks for the background, Neocolor 2s on top of Distress ink, and I use the Brute Funo round pencils again on this one. And yeah, I'm not so sure about the ground or the books, but I like the color combo I got for the house. I think it's a really nice color combo and it really works. And then I used white Uniball Signo pen for the highlights and some glitter gel pen and Dovecraft glittered glue on the snowflakes. So that is all that I have colored in Me and Race Dirt Europa. Next up are my Creative Haven books. I have a couple of them. 2 Christmas books, 1 autumnal book, and then just a few other books, nothing really fancy. And they're all by Teresa Goodrich. I haven't branched out to any of the other artists. But so what I thought I'll do is I'll start with my newest ones and then go backwards. So here we have, if I just zoom you out a bit more, this is Creative Haven Christmas Charm by Teresa Goodrich, and I have got this one. This is my one and only page. Here I've used Prismacolor Premier pencils. I did base this post with some alcohol markers and then I've gone over it in pencil. I do have under my beginner tutorial playlist videos showing you how I colored the cardinals. And yeah, I've used some gel pen on the decoration for the trees. And I've really tried to stick to the same colors, so the purple is coming from the purple in the snow. And yeah, I'm almost done with this one. I just need to carry on finishing it. But I really like how it's turned out. I really love this post. I think the birds are this main focal point and the gazebo is a bit more in the background. But yeah, very pleased with how this is coming along and hoping to finish it in January. So that is what I've colored in Christmas Charm coloring book. Again, you can get a full flip through of this book in my December 2022 haul video, which is up on the channel. So be sure to check that out. Next, I have Enchanted Christmas coloring book. And here I've got quite a few completed pages. And this one I followed a tutorial by Coloring with Elena, and I used acrylic gold paint for the border and Prismacolor Premier pencils for the picture, white Uniball Signo pen for all the white highlights and blacking out lines. Some of it I did, and you can see in the snow I didn't really do that. If I was to do it again, I would do that. Then I have this one as a whip. I tried to use Castle Art pencils, but I really didn't like how they were blending. It was coming out quite dirty and just overall gross. So I stopped using the Castle Arts. And then I've gotten stuck with the palette. I'm not really sure what colors I want to use on this page. So that's a standing whip. And then here, again, you can find this under my Christmas playlist and the live stream playlist, because we did this together on a live stream in December. I based everything with alcohol markers, specifically the Ohuhu markers. I used white Uniball Signo pen and white Sakura Jelly Roll for the white accents. I used gel pen for the stars, and I used on the wings some Spectrum Noir Sparkle, and then everything else is Prismacolor pencils. And I really enjoyed that one. That was a fun page to color. And here I based most of the page in watercolor pencils. I think the watercolor paints I used were the Ming Ling set of watercolor paints. And then I went over everything with Prismacolor pencils. I used gel pens and glitter gel pens for trimmings, white Sakura Jelly Roll for highlights and just removing black lines. And overall, I'm very, very pleased with how this turned out. Even though it took me quite a while to finish it, it was really, really worth the wait. As you can see, my book is coming apart. This one is a page one of my boys were coloring in, and then they got bored with it, and I've been told I need to finish it. So at some point I will finish the page without changing anything that they've colored. Then on this page I've got a whip because I took it out and I copied it onto purple cardstock. Just standard purple cardstock, nothing fancy. And I'm busy filming this side of the picture for you, just some of the leaves, the berries and the ribbon, so you can join me in coloring this page. And I'm using Prismacolor pencils because I really wanted to see how the pencils would respond and react to a different background color. So, and as you can see, the colors really do pop quite a lot and look really spectacular. So again, this is something to look forward to on the channel. It will be colored before next Christmas, so hopefully by the end of January or sometime early Feb you can have this as a completed page. I don't mind coloring it even though it's past Christmas. And then I have this page here, which I use Inktense pencils for the background, Prismacolor pencils for everything else. And I really try to work on lighting again. So, and even with the pixie or the elves wings being transparent, I try to reflect the lighting and the background in the wings. So it really adds to that transparent look. And then I turn these stars into light sources a bit as well. So overall, really pleased with how it turned out. There's some Spectrum Noir sparkle on his wings. I'm not sure if you can see that. And then here and there are some glitter gel pens, but most of it is pencil with an Inktense pencil background. And then for all the white dots, I used a Sakura Jelly Roll. Then here is my gingerbread house, and this one I didn't really embellish it with. I used white Uniball Signo pen for accents, and then everything else was done with Prismacolor pencils. And then finally I did this page, carrying on with the tutorial by coloring with Elena. I just worked on the rest of the page and interpreted what I could from her video and transferred the rest onto the page. So yeah, it was fun to do a color along and really pleased with how it turned out. It's nothing I don't dislike. I used white Uniball Signo pen and white Sakura Jelly Roll to do the bows of the ornaments, and any accents on the page. And that is all I have done in Enchanted Christmas by Teresa Goodrich. Next up is Autumn Charm, and I only have one completed page in here, which was also a color along on the channel under the live streams as well as the Creative Haven playlist. So we based most of the background with alcohol markers and then went over everything with the Prismacolor pencils, and then I used a little bit of gel pen for the fencing and the ropes between the fence here, and then any other accents were done with white Sakura Jelly Roll. So do check out the Creative Haven playlist if you would like to color this page with me. So that is Autumn Charm. Next up is Country Charm, which is actually my all-time favorites, Creative Haven and Teresa Goodrich book. I've done several pages in here. So I've done that little bit here with Prismacolor pencils, and I think a little bit of gel pen for the center of the flowers. And then here I'm busy working on a bit of a sunset background, and I'm just using Prismacolor pencils. They work really, really well on this paper. Here again, this was my first landscape in the Creative Haven books. So here I use Prismacolor Premier pencils, white Uniball Signo pen, and yeah, really learned a lot, especially about how the further back the hills go, the darker they need to be, and the lighter and brighter they need to be in the foreground to draw attention. And then I was starting to realize that my sky shading needed to be darker at the top and lighter as it touches the hills. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing this page. It was a lot of fun. I find Teresa Goodrich's books relatively easy to color in. I think because everything has been planned for you. This is a page I want to do with an autumnal look to it, so I think I'll do that this coming autumn. Then here again, I've only used Prismacolor pencils, try to bring in some of that autumnal vibe, so it's going from late summer into early autumn. Some gel pen here and on these flowers, and then white Sakura Jelly Roll for all the highlights. I did refer to coloring with Elena's picture just so I could see where to put the shadows and the highlights on the train. I've not colored trains before. I think I really like how I did my smoke. There is a tutorial for you under beginner tutorials, and I show you how I do the smoke. The rest of the page I completed off camera. And then here, again, I use Prismacolor pencils and some gel pen for the birds, just gives them that shine, and white Sakura Jelly Roll for highlighting the flowers. And I used quite a few reference photos to get this sort of coloring on the wagon, and also for something different for the house. I didn't want to repeat color palettes. I wanted to try and do something original and different. So yeah, really worked on that one. And then there's spots of Dovecraft glitter glue and glitter gel pen throughout the flowers and the chimneys. So it really gives it a nice look to it. I'm still working on my skies. They do need to be a bit darker at the top and lighter at the bottom. And then here is another winter scene, again using Prismacolor Premier pencils and white Sakura Jelly Roll and Uniball Signo pen, just to remove black lines and create those beautiful snow hills. And this was one of my first attempts at animal fur as well. And you can see here with the sun, I was trying to reflect the sunlight. So overall, really pleased with how it came out. I think it's really lovely. I think the snow is beautiful. It looks very fluffy and soft. And that is all I have done in Country Charm by Teresa Goodrich. Finally, I have Country Gardens by Teresa Goodrich. In here, I don't have any completed pages, but I do have 2 WIPs. I have quite a few pages I would like to color in, but I'm finding the flowers bothersome. I'm not sure how to do the flowers. So here I basted the meadow, the table, the can in alcohol markers, and also the sky, and then I'm slowly going over it all with Prismacolor pencils and trying to complete this page. Then my other WIP, okay, technically I have this one. I did a paving stone very quick short tutorial, so you can see how I do that. So I need to finish all of those and complete the page. And then here I use watercolor paints for the sky and all of what you see colored in. So I need to go over it and complete the transitions from light to dark and finish the page. But yeah, I'm really overwhelmed with all the flowers, so it might take a while before I actually get into this book. So that is Country Gardens by Teresa Goodrich, and concludes all of my Creative Haven books. Next up, I'm going to show you my mythographic books. So here are my mythographic books. I currently have 3 of them. Frozen Fantasies and Magical Earth are my latest editions. So for a full flip through on Mythographic Magical Earth and Frozen Fantasies, do check out my December 2022 Christmas haul and presents video. They will give a full flip through, but I can show you quickly some of the pictures I would like to color in and have marked. So the first one I'd like to do is this one. I'm just working out in my head the color scheme for it, but I've seen a few people complete this page and realize that there are some rocks here as well, so that was very informative. The other pages I'd like to color in include this one with browns, greens, and possibly, well, here you'll have blues, and I'm thinking pinks because they've got lily pads. So pinks and whites would look really lovely. Then there's this one with the koi fish. So I think here you've got blues and browns, browny grays, and then gold or orange. Will look really beautiful. The other one I'd like to do is this one with the honeycomb, and I really like the dripping honey. I'm busy working on another page with bees and honeycomb in Mythographic Paradise. So once I've gotten used to coloring the honeycomb, and I'll work on this page next. And I really want to try and make the bees quite fluffy so that they look like bumblebees. And then there's this page here. So again, if I could either keep to the traditional peacock colors or go more the white and red, or make a white peacock, but I'd probably lean towards the traditional colors. I think it's such a beautiful palette. And then this one, I would like to create a night sky, and all these swirls in the rocks, I would like to make them shine and stand out so that it looks like it's more magical. So I really like this book, this page. This one I want to do with weaver birds in mind, so it would be a lot of yellow, greens and browns. And then finally this page, a friend of mine is really wanting me to do this page, and it would be heavily inspired by the movie Tangled, with all the lanterns going up. So I need to sit down and just work out how to do that, but I don't know if I would do this picture on camera just because of all the lighting, but maybe I should do it on camera. So let me know what you think. So that is what I'd like to color in Magical Earth, which is by Joseph Kattenbang. And then Mythographic Frozen Fantasies. Here I would like to color this one. Now these are illustrations by Fabiano Attanasio. And the other page I'd really like to color is this one, but I would go over all those planets and just create a beautiful night sky, and then focus on this centerpiece with some greenery, and then the beautiful squirrel sleeping. So those are the two pages I'd really like to color in Mythographic Frozen Fantasies by Fabiano Attanasio. And then Mythographic Paradise, which is one of my favorite books for 2022, and one that I would actually work towards completing in maybe not necessarily 2023, but I'm going to put it on my list of books to complete. And in here I've done quite a few pages. So first up is this one. I used oil paints for the background, and I tried up here with polychromos pencils, but I didn't really like how they were turning out, so I switched to Prismacolor pencils, and I did a marker base on the grass here and then went over it, and a lot of whites, Uniball Signo pen and Sakura Jelly Roll for highlights and creating these white dots. But yeah, I think it's come out really, really lovely. The next one I did is this one. Here I use watercolor paints for the water and the night sky, which I went over with a Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. I hope you can see it. I use white Sakura Jelly Roll, and I think I might have used a bit of Posca pen around the moon as well. For the swans, I use Prismacolor pencils, and for everything else, all the greenery and the buildings, I used Marker Raffine, and was pleasantly surprised at how easy they were to use in this book. So I need to actually work a bit more with the Marker Raffine on this paper. Then here again I use watercolor paints for the background and the sky, and then I went over it all with Prismacolor pencils and white Sakura Jelly Roll. I quite like how the night sky has turned out. I'm not sure I like all these moons though. I think I would do it differently if I was to do it again. But I like the sunflowers. I think they came out quite well, and I used paint pens, no fancy brand, just cheap paint pens for the sunflowers. Then this is currently a whip. I've been testing polychromos pencils, castle art pencils. I've done some Inktense in the background here. Then this one, I use Inktense pencils for the background, and I completed it with polychromos pencils, and I really love the color combo I got on these beautiful leaves. And I found that Prismacolor works really well in here, and the Inktense as background works really well as well, so I'm enjoying that. Polys do work, and I'm happy coloring with polys. I just need to work with them a bit more and keep trying them. I want to do this one. It's one of the next ones I really do want to color in. In here I used gold foil for accents, Prismacolor pencils for the image, and I used Inktense pencils for the backgrounds, and quite a lot of white Sakura Jelly Roll for highlights. And I really like how it turned out. I think it came out spectacularly. My daffodils are pretty good. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and it's one of my favorite pictures for 2022 as well. Then my current WIPs is this one. I'm using Prismacolor pencils. I used watercolor paint in the background and went over the watercolor paint with some pearl effects, just to give it a nice sheen to it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing this one. Then the other one I've done the background for is this one using, I think I use Inktense pencils, and then I've gone over it with the Pearl Effects watercolor paints. And I really am happy with that sheen. It's not too much, but it's still there. And I didn't want a perfect blend because I wanted it to have that slightly splotchy feel, which water does give you. It gives you that like rippled look. So those are my two WIPs. Then here I used Inktense pencils in the background, a whole lot of Dovecraft glitter glue, Prismacolor Premier pencils. I was inspired by the Aurora Borealis for these weird swirly clouds. I stuck on some stars and used gel pens for these bits that go up and down. And then I used white Scholar paint with a sponge and dabbed it onto the page to try and create like clusters of galaxies and lots of stars. And I was trying to go for a Peter Pan ship, you know. He took Hook's ship and sprinkled it all with fairy dust, and they took Wendy, John, and Michael home to England. So that was the inspiration for this page. Then here, this was a buddy color, and I think it was with Tammy Colors. And here I tried polychromos pencils, but still didn't like them. So I used Prismacolor pencils. I did base some bits in alcohol markers, so the mountains here, the trees, a few other things. And then I used white Sakura Jelly Roll to remove black lines. And we were going for an autumn and spring kind of theme. So I used a bit of gel pen for the mosaic in the windows. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how it came out. And then this one is the first page I did start coloring but never finished because I didn't know how to cover up the hidden objects, and I didn't know that you could cover up the hidden objects. So this one I think is going to be a slow completion. And then that is it. So that is all that I have colored in Mythographic Paradise by Fabiana Atanasio. Thank you so much everyone for joining me. I hope to see you again in the next video. Until next time, do like, subscribe, comment below, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.